Okay, kindergartners, do you remember in our book how we saw so many different kinds of lines? We saw straight lines, we saw curved lines, we saw lines that went in different shapes, like a part of a circle or a bump that made the fender of the car. We saw shapes that were making clouds and kites. I want to talk to you about lines and how lines can make shapes. So the first thing that you're going to do with this paper and this marker is to think, what's one of the most common lines that we know? There's the word lines. One of the most common lines is this kind of line, a straight line. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but it needs to be pretty much straight. You don't need to use a ruler unless you want to. Let me show you what you're going to do. On this paper with this marker, you're going to make a straight line. But wait, because you need to make your straight line up here at the top, just about right there. So there's a lot more white space because we're going to make a lot of lines. You're going to just start with a line across from one side to the other, like you were following the line, just like that. All right. Got it? Remember, this pen will stain your clothes and it won't come out. So you could even stop, put the cap on while you're watching for the next part. The next line that we're going to make is a wavy line. So a wavy line could be like an ocean or maybe part of a cloud. You decide what it's for, but you can go ahead and from end to end on your paper, I'm going to tip this down so you can see my paper. You're going to skip a little space like that, and you're going to go ahead and make a wavy line. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but it can be similar. Maybe you want big, gentle waves like in my dress. Maybe you want a lot of little waves. That's okay too. All right, when you're done, I know this is important, put the top back on so that if it drops, it doesn't get Sharpie marker all over you. All right, next thing we're gonna do is another line. What kind of line is this called? Anybody know? It's a dotted line. I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna tip my camera down, and right here, I'm going to make a dotted line. Dot, 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 dot. They don't have to be exactly the same distance apart. They can be fat dots, they can be little dots, they can be a combination. And I'm going to go all the way across to the other side. There's my dotted line. Terrific. Now, another line that we saw in the book was a zigzag line. Before you draw it, finish your dotted line. And then take your finger and go like this. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Move it across. A zigzag line. I know you know how to make that, but I'll show you. Zigzag. So far, you should have, is it easy? A straight line, a wavy line, a dotted line, and now a zigzag line. Okay, I'm going to draw mine and you can draw yours. So I'm taking my cap off my marker and I'm starting here. I'm still leaving a lot of white space. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And they can be different size lines for your zigzag. There's my zigzag. So far you should have a straight line, a wavy line, a dotted line, and a zigzag line. If I'm ever going too fast, you can stop, pause the video, and catch up. But I'm going to keep going. Okay. After the dotted line, do you remember in the book when we saw some clouds? Yep. You're going to make some cloud lines. So with your finger, you can do that. Bump, 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 bump. Go ahead and do it from one side to the other. I'll do it too. from one side to the other. Bump, 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 bump. Okay, you see? I still have some white space. I'm going to need to make 2 more lines, so I want to make sure that I have a little bit more white space left. Okay, all right. The next line, this might be our hardest line. This is going to make the top of a castle. It's called a castle line. So look at how it goes. It goes across, up, across, down, across, up, across, down, across, up, across, down. Let's do that with our fingers. Across, up, across, down, across, up, across, down, all the way to the other side. Give that one a try. All right, I'm going to try it too. I'm going to come down here. I know I need 1 more line, so I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom yet. Across, up, across, down, across, up, across, down, across, up, across, down. Kindergartners, I'm not worried if these are absolutely perfect lines. I'm practicing how lines go, and you can do that too. So if it doesn't look exactly like mine, or it doesn't look exactly the way that you were hoping it would look in your brain when you were thinking about it, give yourself some grace. Let yourself say, that's okay, I'm trying my best. If you need to pause, you can. I'm going to go on to the next line, which is going to be the very last line we're going to draw. I'm putting my cap on my marker. The last line, oh my gosh, is a curly Q. A curly Q starts here, makes a loop, 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 like that. It's kind of like a pig's tail, or maybe a twisted cord of a telephone, or maybe, which you probably don't even know what that is, or maybe it's a piece of string. All right, so I'm going to start here, right down at my, almost at the bottom, but not quite. I'm going to overlap and down, around and down, around and down, around and down. And they don't all need to be the same, like that. So now, once you're all finished, you should have all of these lines. Let's talk about again what they are. Straight line, wavy line, dotted, zigzag line, a cloud line, a castle line, and a curly Q line. Awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do some painting. All right, so you're going to take your watercolors and open them up. And I bet you've used paint before, but I'm going to show you because it's always worth repeating. The first thing you want to do is dip and push it down. See how it kind of spreads out like a dancer's skirt? And then take it out and wipe, wipe, so that your water's not dripping. Then choose your color. I think I might start with red. Let me get some water in that red. I'm really going to mix this around. Mix, 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 mix. Okay. Back to my picture. Remember to put something underneath here. Put something underneath. A piece of newspaper or a piece of paper. Something your family says you can use. And I'm going to take my red and I'm going to just paint this section from my straight line up. It's okay if I touch my straight line. That's not a big thing. But I'm going to try to keep my red paint in this section. Do you see how I'm going across, 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 across? Right? That gives me a nice long line of paint. That's called a paint stroke. All right. There you go. I have a little bit of white there. I can just kind of dab it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. If I go over into the next line, I'm not worried about that. Then I'm going to take my water and my brush, and I'm going to really do that dancer again on the bottom. do that skirt. And then I'm going to wipe, wipe, wipe. So it's not dripping. I don't really want my paint dripping because that makes a mess. Now I think I'm going to do a different color. You can do any color that you like. I think I'm going to do some orange. Now, if your paint is really dry in here, you could get one more dip of water to make it a little less wet. And then you can rub, 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 rub. And then I have a lot of nice paint on my brush. And I'm going to do the next part. It's almost like a coloring book. I'm just going to do this part. I'm not going to go into the dot yet. So I'm going to go ahead and follow my line up and down, across, across, across. You're going to do the same thing. Same thing. Okay. Remember, you can always pause this video, or you can just watch the whole thing. You might not even need to watch the rest if you know what I'm going to do next. Ballerina, skirt, wipe, wipe. I'm going to go on to yellow. You could use green, you could use blue, you could use black, you could use purple, you can use whatever you want. I'm going to use yellow. And this is a little harder because look, there's no line there. It's just dots, dotted line. So it's okay if I go over. So here I go. You see how I'm using long strokes wherever I can. And I'm following the curves. I'm not worried if the colors touch a little bit. All right. And I think I might even paint right over those dots just a little bit, just like that. All right, what's next? Rinse, rinse, rinse. Make it dance on the bottom. Brush, brush off the extra. I'm going to do some green now. And now I have kind of a bigger space, and that might happen to you too, depending upon which lines are next to each other. Across, 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 across. I'm going to turn this way so that you can see me going from the left to the right, just the way we write. Okay. Really take your time and enjoy this process. Enjoy this process. And remember, if you go over the lines, it's not a big thing. Especially with watercolor, it's really hard to stay on the line, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now, I'm rinsing, and I'm wiping and wiping, and I'm going to go to my next color. I'm really rubbing the color on there before I even start painting so that there's a lot of paint on my brush. Now, that makes an interesting thing because I need to go do the zigzags and the clouds at the same time. So this takes a little bit of slower work to follow that line. It's hard to do that across, across, across. Do you see where my blue went into my green? Does my face look worried? I'm not worried about that. You don't need to be worried about that either. Just take your time and do your best work. That's all any of us can do. Also, you might get a result in your painting that you weren't expecting. That can be kind of fun. All right, I'm going to keep going. You keep going too. So you can be thinking, what color are you going to use next? And you can kind of see as you're going that up here, it's already kind of dry. Isn't that amazing? I'm filling in as I go. I'm trying not to have too much white space, so I'm going to go back over that a little bit and just kind of push it. So your paintbrush is really kind of pushing the paint and the water around. Pushing the paint and the water around. Oh, look, I got a little bit of a hair from my paintbrush. That's so funny. That happens sometimes. I'm not sure I can get it off. I'll wait till it dries. I'll just wait till it dries. Whoopsie daisy, sorry guys. I'll just wait till it dries. All right, a little more. I have 3 more colors. I think I'm going to see how this purple looks. I know lavender is Miss Laura's favorite color. I wonder which one is your favorite color. So kindergartners, you don't have to keep following me. You could finish the whole thing if you want in any colors that you like. You don't have to do the colors I'm doing, but you can. Then, after it's all dry, I'd love for you to take a picture of it and show it to your teacher on Seesaw, because we would love to see this artwork. I'm almost done. Are you? All right, now I think I'm going to go back and do red again. I really like red, and I want to make this one a little darker. So I'm using less water and more paint. I really rubbed it in the paint longer with a little less water. Rub, rub, rub. And that makes it a little darker. It's kind of interesting. And you might be wondering, can I mix 2 colors? You can. This is your painting. Now, this gets tricky down here. So try not to color in the loops. Try to go around the loops. Of course, if you get a little bit in there like I just did, you're not going to worry about it. You're just doing your very best, artists. You're just doing your very best. That could be a place where you might feel frustrated. And artists, just like scientists and mathematicians, sometimes become frustrated. I'm frustrated sometimes. I bet you get frustrated sometimes. But the best thing to do when you're frustrated is not give up. It's just to tell yourself, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just going to keep trying. This is the first time you've ever done this art project. So it's not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be about exploring the paint and exploring the line. And you're doing that. So you're doing all the right things. All right. There you go. Look how much darker it is. Oh my gosh, and look what's happening. The color is bleeding into the purple a little bit. That was unexpected. It's because they were both water. And water makes things move, makes the paint move, right? Just kind of like a little stream. That's all right. I'm not worried about it. Look how dark that's getting. Now I'm going to wipe. All right, I think I'm going to end on orange. I really love orange. I really love orange. Okay, I'm going to move that forward. Now, I'm going to color in my circles, my ovals, a little bit orange. All right, and because I'm thinking they're part of my curly-Q, I noticed that I think curly-Q might be spelled wrong on my poster, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. Now, do you think I want to put my brush away like that? I don't. I really want to clean it. You could ask a grown-up to help you carry this to the sink, and then you can wash it out in the sink, and you can push on the bottom of the sink. Really make sure that's clean. Put it someplace where it will dry, and then you can put it away. And there's my painting. I'm not going to lift it up because the paint will run. It's still wet. So I'm going to leave it right where it is, and I'm going to let it dry. And you're going to let yours dry too. And when it's all dry, take a picture. Can't wait to see. I need to wash my hands. I bet you do too. Make sure that cap is on the Sharpie. Put the Sharpie back in your Ziploc bag. This isn't for drawing every day. It's not. It's only for certain art projects. Okay, so please don't use it unless Annie or Miss Laura or your teacher asks you to. Put it back in the Ziploc bag. Can't wait to see your work, kindergartners.